Hello everyone. So there are certain book announcements out there that you take notice of as soon as you see them, whether it's when you look at the cover art for the first time, maybe it's the author who wrote it, or both. Today I will be talking about 3 very recent and very monumental book announcements. I know I'm a little late on this, but also I just kind of wanted the opportunity to talk about what I've been really excited about recently, especially when it comes to big fantasy announcements like these. But it looks like we have a pretty good idea on what's going to be landing on our laps in the new year. So I have 3 here today. We'll probably talk about more as the months go on. So if you like this type of content, I also do book releases videos every single month, so truly serving all of your bookish needs. Subscribe, like, comment, follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want. Okay, let's jump into these. As always, Tor dumps a lot of news on us pretty frequently, and though they announced this quite some time ago, Martha Wells, the author most known for her famous sci-fi series called the Murderbot Diaries, has written a brand new fantasy novel that will be released on May 30th, 2023. For the longest time, we didn't know anything about it. Every month I would come back and I would scour the internet hoping for some kind of announcement or more information for Martha Wells to have said something in an interview maybe. But nope, nothing. No idea what the book was going to be about. Except presumably some kind of Witch King, right? Well, September 21st was a big day for all of us book nerds. The cover for it was finally revealed, which just upped the excitement. It's nice to finally put some artwork to the story that we only know so little about. Now, this isn't Martha Wells' first foray into fantasy. She has actually written many fantasy novels, if you didn't know, like The Wizard Hunters, Wheel of the Infinite, the books of the Audible series, which is a big one, and the Nebula-nominated The Death of the Necromancer, as well as YA novels, short stories, and even nonfiction. So she's a very busy woman, and she's been in her sci-fi era for quite a long time with the success of the Murderbot Diaries, which consist of 6 books and 2 short stories. Over a span of many years, I want to add. It definitely overshadowed most of her previous books for good reason, but wow, am I excited for this new fantasy. Martha Wells' imagination is incredible, so I'm not surprised Witch King sounds completely different from anything that I thought it might be. So first off, this isn't just a fantasy, but it's an epic fantasy, which means it's going to be set within a big world, which makes perfect sense as she is a sci-fi writer. The world can't get any bigger than space, so to see it translated to a fantasy world, it's going to be interesting. And it's stated here, a story of power and friendship, of trust and betrayal, and of the families we choose. So maybe some found family trope in the mix. I have my laptop right here, so the synopsis tells us that our main character really is a Witch King, and his name is Kyenna, and he is dead. He was murdered or assassinated, and his consciousness laid dormant, never realizing the passing of time, while being inside of a water trap. Now that's what I call a watery grave. But he wakes up to a mage thief trying to harness the power or the magic that he has left over. There is a lot of questions surfacing here. Wow, so many water puns. I'm also going to assume some unlikely allies happening. Super excited for this one, way more than I expected to be. Now we just have to wait many more months to get our hands on it. So I think it's safe to assume that we all know Fonda from her Green Bone saga, but she has something just as epic for us, but in a much smaller package. And that is Untethered Sky, which releases in April 2023. This cover was actually released over the summer, and I immediately recognized the artist as soon as I saw it. It's Jamie Jones, who also did the Murderbot Diary covers. So very fitting that I'm talking about both today. This is a standalone novella under 200 pages, which kind of saddens me a little bit because I do love my big fantasy books and I like to experience the world for longer periods of time, but it is Fonda Lee and I'll take anything that I can get. So this here follows a young woman who forms a wild bond with a gigantic and deadly bird of prey called Rocs, which are legendary birds, very popular in the mythology of the Middle East. Well, in this book, they are flown by these elite trainers / warriors to hunt many different predators like wolves, jackals, but most importantly, manticores. And our main character is one of those trainers. She had a tragic childhood as her family was slaughtered by said manticore. So maybe, some revenge motivations here, but she's paired with a bird who doesn't have any like emotional connection with her, and they are tasked to kill a very, very dangerous manticore. It sounds like a story that is very manageable in such a short amount of time, but will probably still leave a big impact, like the exploration of the relationship between human and animal companions. Like, can wild animals ever be truly tamed? Is it okay to train and domesticate a wild animal in the first place? Listen, I am an easy mark when it comes to this stuff. I am such a sucker. I hear giant birds you can ride on, animal companions. I absolutely love books that explore the relationship between humans and animals. So this one is really speaking to me. I'm very interested to see how this one plays out. I'm really excited to see what the hardcover copy looks like in person. Fonda is going to give us a story that is going to fulfill our lifeblood. I can feel that it's going to be very cinematic and with real feeling characters. I just know I'm going to be left with wanting more. Alrighty, moving on to our last big announcement. If you are a fan of S.A. Chakraborty, who is mostly known for her Devabad trilogy, which has been translated into over a dozen languages and was nominated for the Hugo, Locus, World Fantasy, Crawford, and Astounding Awards. That is a mouthful. Well, then you will be excited to know that her new book, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, was recently announced with a beautiful cover reveal. The most vibrant, stylized cover out of the three, I think, and it really stands out. So already this tells me it's a nautical based story, and it's about pirates and sorcerers set on the high seas. So a very, very different setting than her previous books. This is coming out March 2023, and it's a planned historical fantasy trilogy. The story follows the escapades of a former pirate and ship's captain, Amina, our title spotlight character, and we see her pulled out of retirement and hired to track down the kidnapped daughter of a late comrade. And she's offered a fortune, so Amina seizes the opportunity for one last adventure. But it becomes pretty clear the assignment given to her is both dangerous and way more supernatural than she expected. Honestly, the word supernatural really throws a wrench in that synopsis. Like, oh, I see, you're keeping us on our toes here. Clearly, this is very adventure story inspired. I can't confirm it because sometimes these things are wrong, but Amazon has this book marked at nearly 500 pages. So yes, lots of adventuring to be had. That's really all we know about this one for now, after some like rumblings and mumblings at least. I'm excited to know more. It's ambitious, and I'm already pumped to see what the covers look like for book 2 and 3, because this art has my whole body and soul. And there's already fan art that was made right here of the cast of characters we follow, I assume. You can actually find this on her website, and I see a cat on one of the characters' shoulders, and please, like a seafaring cat. Like, you have me reeled in even more. Let's hope it lives up to the hype. I will be waiting with bated breath until next year when this comes out. So that's going to be it for today. Those are 3 books I really wanted to highlight and talk about. I'm sure a lot of you already know about these new announcements, but just in case you didn't, I'm glad I can be the one to put them on your radar. Especially these books in particular, as they're probably going to be some of the most talked about next year. But I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments what you think about these 3 books. Which one are you most excited for? Are you wary about any of them? Are you pumped for a new fantasy from Martha Wells? I know some people were disappointed by the more simplistic cover of Witch King. Let's talk about it. I definitely want to hear more from you, so thank you for clicking on this video. I know you were probably recommended a million other more interesting videos, but hey, you clicked on this one and I appreciate you. So until we meet again, happy reading.